And that segues us perfectly into our lead story with Joe Biden's White House team trying to fix and stealth edit what he said. No, I'm not kidding. Things are that bad in the White House where literally they can't chauffeur out Karine Jean-Pierre to try and put on a Band-Aid for what Joe Biden did because it's literally on camera. Every conservative and Republican posted on social media last week and over the weekend just showing on full display Joe Biden's incoherence and him fighting with his teleprompter, which happens on a weekly basis. But the fact that now it's consistent and the fact that he's consistently making gaffes is only making the issues worse. So without further ado, we do have the clip here, and then we're going to talk about how they stealth edit this stuff and how basically his administration's scrambling on all levels. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Power. It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line.
Jeez.
Women are not without electoral and or political, or maybe precise, not and or political power. That's another way of saying that you, the women of America, can determine the outcome of this issue. I don't think the court, or for that matter, the Republicans.
Wow. What do you just think is going on in Kamala's mind at that moment that she lost to this guy? She's also standing behind a guy that she called racist. And then you got this other dude on the right-hand side that's just smirking. Just, they can both see the teleprompter in real time. They know what he did. That's where we are. Literally, the only way that they could sit there and go around this is trying to stealth edit. And we see this stuff from the Democrats all the time. Normally they do it with history. And they go, oh, well, it's the South. It's not the Democratic South. We don't like that word. It doesn't really go with our narrative. We like to use the word South because when you use Democratic South, it's not really inclusive. So that's the way they do things. It's almost like a buffet, right? The way they treat history and Joe Biden, where they go, well, we don't like that one. That one's icky. I'll take that one. Ooh, I really like that one. Is that the Republican racist? Ooh, I love that one. Let's put that on the plate. Like, that's how they deal with history as well as Joe Biden. They just kind of pick and choose what's good. But now that everybody chauffeured this out and it just went all over the news, it looks terrible. And so they can't edit the video. I mean, they could. That's going to make matters worse. But now they've been ousted all over Twitter for trying to stealth edit what he said. And how they did this was they removed quotes at certain segments of the transcript to make it seem like the president never said it. And I'll actually show you an image here on Twitter from whitehouse.gov actually posted this. So if you look at the end of the quote there in the first paragraph where it says percentage of men who do so, quote, and then it says end of quote, that portion's not in there with quotes itself, even though the president said it. And then the next line, the next paragraph says, let me repeat the line. That's not in quotes either, even though he said it. And then it starts with a quote. But even if you go in the second lines where he's fighting with his teleprompter in real time on camera, they don't have the portions in there in quotes of where he actually fought with his camera. And so this is how they're trying to do things now to try and move things around. They don't have a clue what's going on. There's no Band-Aid to put on this. This is what they have to do now to try and compensate for a president's cognitive decline, his clear cognitive decline. And the left are losing it now. The left don't know what to do. But if you recall, it's not the first time Biden has struggled with his teleprompter or revealed his dependence on careful instructions for his handlers. I mean, they gave him a note card just the other week that told him to take your seat. They told him where to sit. I was so shocked they didn't say your name is Joe Biden. You're the president of the United States. You know things are bad when you have that kind of instructions on a note card that you need to waste paper for a bunch of leftists that want to claim that they're all freaking climate changers and all this other crap. They're going to waste paper to tell a president to take your seat. Like, he has freaking answers written on him left and right. I get that you need a note card sometimes to keep track of all the media and everything that's changing in the world. I mean, Reagan had note cards left and right. Reagan always had note cards. Granted, he can freaking memorize a script. He didn't necessarily need them, but he did always have them. Now, also in April, if you recall, a handler literally dressed as an Easter bunny to steer Biden away from delivering off-the-cuff comments and remarks to freaking the media and press about Afghanistan and Pakistan. So this is happening all the time. The amount of people that he has around him to kind of chauffeur him and herd him like a sheep is just crazy. There's always that clip I talk about where literally the Secret Service is herding him like a freaking piece of cattle to try and get into the Oval Office. They literally point to him. They tell him, hey, it's this way. And he just keeps going straight, like through the grass. There is a walkway to get into the Oval Office where he's been going since Obama's time, and now since he's president for the last, 12 months, I think by the time that filming was, and he just goes straight around some bushes. And the Secret Service had to run to try and then herd him around the bushes to try and make sure he gets to his place. It's crazy. And finally, the left is starting to take note of it. And not just the left, but specifically the media outlets are trying to basically change the narrative here about not his cognitive decline, but about his age. At least they're making some issue here about Joe Biden kind of going downhill. And I think this is the first step of the media saying, hey, yeah, there's a cognitive decline. So the New York Times ran a story, and it published a piece basically questioning his fitness. And I mean, this is long overdue. We've been questioning his fitness since he was campaigning. Hell, we were questioning his fitness before he was even campaigning. We were talking about the dude just doesn't look good. Look at his interviews. This guy's thinking about running for president. He slurs. He fumbles through his words. He fights with himself. It's just crazy. Well, the article is titled, "At 79, Biden is testing the boundaries of age and the presidency," claiming that the president's upcoming 4-day Middle East trip was originally scheduled to be combined with his recent trip to Europe. Now, listen to what they say here, because this is crazy. However, an anonymous official called it crazy for Biden to go on an unnecessarily taxing for the 79-year-old president. Like, going on a taxing trip to the Middle East and to Europe. This is something that's normal for presidents, but it's taxing on him. He gets sleepy, guys. His ankles hurt. Like, it's so baffling that this is happening. But notice that they're trying to do this whole ageism thing. And they've been doing this. I'm using that term specifically because for the last 12 months, roughly, they've been saying that Republicans and conservatives are a bunch of ageists, that we're against him because of his age. I and myself and others, Republicans, conservatives, if you were to combine us into a group, we don't care about his age. Reagan was old, but Reagan had his shit together. This guy doesn't. So it's not about his age. It has everything to do with about his cognitive decline. You can be in your 80s and be fine. You could be 79. You could be in your late 70s and still be okay. Look at Donald Trump. He's freaking doing rallies every week, talking for hours on end, not fighting with his teleprompter, not saying end of quote, not saying repeat the line. I mean, he uses a teleprompter. Have you ever seen him say that? I haven't. I'm sure maybe it's had to have happened once when you're reading off a teleprompter that many times, but there's people on news stations all the time. You have the left-wing outlets reading teleprompters all the time. I've read a teleprompter on the show before. You're not seeing people slip up. This is more than your age. This has everything to do with you in your mind falling apart. And now your administration's falling apart. Follow along with America. Follow along with the United States and the citizens that live within it, because you're trashing the economy. You're freaking having record inflation. You're allowing freaking MS-13 gang members to pour across the border. You're allowing drug cartel to pour across the border. You're allowing fentanyl to pour across the border, which is leading to mass casualties of Americans. All sort of stuff is taking place from this guy. But yeah, no, it's just his age. His age is tough. Yeah, he gets a little sleepy, guys, by flying on an airplane and going from place to place. Quote, and as Mr. Biden insists, he plans to run for a second term. His age has increasingly become an uncomfortable issue for him, his team, and his party, wrote Peter Baker, the chief White House correspondent for the New York Times. An uncomfortable issue? It's as if they never knew that he was going to hit this type of age before he ran. Like now they're sprawling around. That's why I'm saying it's using his age to, I think, segue into cognitive decline later on. I think they're trying to soften the blow. And going, oh crap, we just voted for a guy that's not all there. People are going to find out, when everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. I mean, hell, literally at the G7 summit, you had Boris Johnson, I believe his last name is, the ex-prime minister, I suppose, of Great Britain. Everybody's laughing at him. Everybody's laughing. So this has been going on for a while, but now they're just aware of it. This is how slow the left are. The article noted the oldest president in American history would be 86 years old at the end of his tenure if he won the 2024 election. It's crazy because they actually think he's going to live that long. Look, I'm not for anybody dying, but the way this guy is going, he has some serious either Alzheimer's or something taking place where I don't know if he's going to be able to feed himself, let alone like breathe himself later on, like actually allow himself to remember to breathe, or he's going to choke on his food or something. I don't know. Something bad's going to happen, because the way he's been declining since the campaign till now alone, I mean, you're expecting 7 years from now, 6 or 7 years? I don't know. Democratic strategies told the Times that they do not believe Biden should run for president in 2024. Why not? Why not? He's the most popular president in history, has 81 million votes. Look in the comment section, folks, on the shorts that I make. The Democrats love this guy. He beat Trump is what they're telling me. Oh, well, he's better than Trump. Why not have, if he's better than Trump, and Trump had a freaking great run, if he's so much better than Trump, why would you not want him to run again? Hell, if everything can go this well right now with a guy that's senile, 79 years old, it's taxing for him to fly on an airplane and go deliver speeches everywhere that's written for him, that he just stands up there like an empty shell and reads off a teleprompter, which clearly is taxing for him as well, as we just saw. Why not allow him to run again? Just put him on a bunch of strings, tie him to a gurney, and shove him out there, and you'll be fine, because he's the best president in history, right, according to the left and Democrats. Baker cited a Harvard poll released back in June that found that 64% of U.S. voters say Biden is showing he is too old to be president. Again, it's about him being old. It's about his cognitive decline. You could be freaking 95 for all I care, and as sharp as a whistle, sharp as a tool, however you want to freaking phrase it that's going to make sense. It's not about age. It's about your freaking, your head up here. More than a dozen current and former White House senior officials and advisors acknowledge Mr. Biden looks older than just a few years ago. What is his face drooping a little bit? He's not standing up as straight. Oh my God. A political liability that cannot be solved by traditional White House strategies like staff shakeups or new communication plans. Interesting. You see in the New York Times how they do this? If you recall, Peter Doocy last week was basically questioning Karine Jean-Pierre on what's going on with the communications director. Why is she leaving? And then Karine Jean-Pierre, she went on about this whole like thing of, oh, well, let me speak about her. She's so nice. She's so lovely. And a lot of you commented on that video saying it's sad that she has to sit there and look at a note card to talk about her friend. All the nice things about her friend. She's not her friend. But supposedly, folks, Karine Jean-Pierre's known her since 2007. The point I'm trying to make is communications isn't going to fix this thing. They're clearly trying to stealth edit things. They're shakeups in the administration, even though they have the best, the best tenure or the best turnover rate since Reagan days, according to Karine Jean-Pierre. All that stuff's not going to fix a president that you can't even have go on the podium to do his own White House press briefings because you're too scared that he's going to just pass out, slur through his sentences, trigger a bunch of pressure. Like, what the hell? We just did a whole short the other day of him just fumbling through his words, falling off a bicycle, hitting a golf ball backwards, falling up a flight of stairs, eating his ice cream awkwardly. The list goes on. Somebody literally commented on why I didn't post a certain phrase that he said. I told her, I was like, we literally only have a minute. There's literally hours of content that we could post on Joe Biden's gaffes. I literally only have 60 seconds to post what I thought was good, maybe top 10. It's tough to fit everybody in there, especially everything that everybody wants. So they added the president's energy level, while impressive for a man of his age, is not what it was. And some aides quietly walked out for him. Yeah, we know. It's not just his age. It's his own wife. His own wife watches out for him. Remember, there's that scene of him like in a restaurant, and somehow he made it to where the general public was. And I don't know where the Secret Service was at on this, but his wife comes and like finds him because he's lost, and she chauffeurs him away, and everybody just kind of awkwardly giggles. Yeah, so it's literally everybody's watching out for this guy, and he's still and we still get gaffes like this. You have the most powerful man on the face of the planet that has the best aides, the best Secret Service, the best military, all these things to cover for him, right? Can hire anybody that he wants, practically, that can sit there and cover for him, and it's still seeping through the cracks. So if it's this bad in front of the camera, can you imagine on what is going on inside the White House with this guy? I mean, when somebody says that he does doo-doo his pants, I guess we could say it, it's not far off from probably being true. And it's a very sad thing to say. Look, this man has served this country for over 40 years, and I'm not saying in a good way, but he did serve. And it's sad to see because he has a family, folks. He has a family. Even if we don't agree with who his family members are, like Hunter Biden, he still has people that care about him. There's a lot of Democrats that clearly still love him. And I mean this in all sincerity. You don't want to see somebody go through something like this. I honest to God mean that. It is tough to watch a human being being pushed out there by the Democrat Party because they don't have anybody else. Literally nobody else. And so he took one for the team. He's clearly, man, going through some tough times. And now you have the New York Times, you have other people in terms of outlets finally going, oh crap, this is really bad. Things have gotten really bad. He just fell off his bicycle. Now he's slurring through his words and he's trying to fight with his teleprompter. Uh-oh. He often shuffles when he walks. I've been freaking talking about this for literally 18 months. Yes. Watch when he walks to freaking Marine One. He's like the lawnmower cutting through blades of grass with his feet. He's not lifting them up. And aides worry he will trip on a wire. Trip on a freaking rock, on a pebble. Make sure you're cleaning the driveway every week too. Aides revealed to the Times he stumbles over his words during public events. It's like I wrote this. It's literally like I wrote this. And they hold their breath to see if he makes it to the end without a gaffe. Don't we all? Don't we all? Look, it's not just his aides. It's not just the people at the White House. It's not just Kamala Harris standing behind him. It's everybody going, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen with this guy? Quote, Mr. Biden's public appearances have fueled that perception. His speeches can be flat and listless. Basically, flat as if there's no energy. I've commented this on the entire time. I'm here. They woke me up. I made it. No, seriously. I made it. They breathed through my nose and it gave me life. And he comes up with some cockamamie story that never happened. He sometimes loses his train of thought, has trouble summoning names, or appears momentarily confused, the Times article conceded. They must be frequent viewers of the Bald Bradshaw or some conservatives outlet, because hell, we've been talking about this since the campaign. Almost exact quotes I would like to point out. Quote, more than once, he was promoted Vice President Kamala Harris, calling her President Harris. Mr. Biden, who overcame a childhood stutter, stumbles over words like kleptocracy. I remember that. That was so bad. He has said Iranian when he meant Ukrainian, and several times called Senator Mark Warner, Democrat of Virginia, John confusing with his late Republican senator of that name from Virginia. And it just goes on. I mean, the article just rips him to shreds. And look, I'm not so much bothered by him, and it's not a good look, but I'm not so much bothered by him saying Iranian instead of Ukrainian or vice versa. There's been times, I know that all of us have probably done this, where we've been in like a really frequent conversation about something, or even for myself, when I know there's a new article or a new news segment coming up in the show, that's where my mind's automatically going. And so because that's where your mind is at as well, trying to think about something else, or you just got done talking about something else, that you slip up on your words because you're referencing something that you just did or somewhere where you're going in terms of conversation. So I'm not so worried about that. It's the fact that it's constant and it's happening all the time. And I would say, like, one of the ways you do this in Hollywood, if you're filming TV shows or movies or doing something like this on YouTube, is if you find yourself consistently slipping up, whether it's reading a teleprompter, an article, or your train of thought, something that is good advice in terms of how actors are trained is to slow your speech. The problem is Joe Biden can't do that. He's already slow, which is why he looks lifeless on camera. I'm here, tripping about pressure. Kleptocracy. Like, it's just, he's already slowing down. There's nothing you can do for the guy. It's past help. It's just get him off the stage and don't put him in front of the public. And now you're seeing why they didn't put him out there during the campaign trail. That's why he hid in his basement. We've been all calling it out. And now they're running these types of articles. These types of articles should have been ran, if anything, during the campaign, not 18 months into his presidency as he's driving freaking the economy into the ground. Some say it is going up. Okay, it's wish-washy. But in terms of inflation, immigration, his handling with Afghanistan, his handling with Iran, his handling with Ukraine, his handling with Russia, his handling with North Korea. I mean, the list goes on in his foreign policy, and now he can't even go around to the Middle East, or they don't want him to because it's too taxing on him. Give me a break. But now they're going to run the article. Now is a good time to do all this. So what also is funny here is they got a little bit of data. They said that Biden has only held 16 news conferences, less than half as many as former presidents Donald Trump, Barack Obama, George W. Bush. Biden has only given 38 interviews, far fewer than the 116 by Trump, 198 by Obama, and 71 by Bush. Like, he's not even in the ballpark. He's not even playing the same game and hasn't been playing the same game. But that's who they chauffeured out. That's who the Democrats are trying to chauffeur out again. They're literally, it's like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. They're trying to hold on that this guy's going to make it somehow to mid to late 80s. And they'll do it. That's the thing. Based on what I've been reading from Democrats, they're going to vote for this guy again, and they want this guy. They can't put Hillary Clinton out there, Kamala Harris, or Pete Buttigieg. They know they're not going to win against Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump. They wouldn't win against Ted Cruz, and that's not a job on Ted Cruz. I love Ted Cruz, but these guys have nothing. They have nothing. The left are now chauffeuring out all this stuff. about Joe Biden's age, about how his aides are worried about him. Excuse me, and they're going to cover for him. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.